Doha was, to an outside viewer, a highly competitive competition. When I tried to describe the pole vault to non-track and field fans, the best way that I talk about it is a chess game in the air. Because I'm watching, like, when you're competing against, like, Sidorova, which heights you guys miss, when you miss them, how you miss them, if you're going for the win or you're going for a medal. What were you going for in Doha?
I would say Doha was the first competition of 2019 where I really felt like myself on the runway that year. I was coming back from an ankle surgery that I had in October of 18. Okay. And so 2019, I was trying to jump on new poles, longer poles. I was kind of using it as like, okay, I've got one more year until Tokyo. Little did I know I would have 2 years until Tokyo. I want to try to figure out how to get my grip higher. So I'd been working on that. And I had actually made my approach 2 strides longer because I couldn't quite push off of my surgical ankle. It hurt to do so. So I needed more steps. But before Doha, I felt like my ankle was finally healed enough to where I could bring my run back in. I compete and I'm more consistent from a shorter approach. And I did 2 training sessions, jumping at bars, going into Doha. And I was back in my regular approach that I've been jumping from for years. And I decided, okay, we're going to set aside these poles that haven't quite been working, go back to the poles that have worked for me. And I know I can jump high on these poles for Doha. And had those 2 feel-good sessions. And Doha for me was just going out there and competing to the best of my abilities and finally like getting that edge back that I had been missing for the rest of the prior season because of ankle surgery and because of having to change my run and trying to change poles and stuff. So there were a lot of changes going on, and change can be good, but when it doesn't quite work, you sometimes have to set it aside and come back to it later, So, you say that it was like a chess game, but honestly, in Doha, it was pretty straightforward because I was making everything on first attempts and so was Sidorova. Sure. So it really didn't become like, there was no passing, there was nothing like that. And for me, that's when competition gets really iffy and strenuous, is when you're having to pass, someone makes on a first, you're in second place. Okay, I'm going to pass now. I don't like all of that. I like when it's simple, easy. And of course my coach does too, because it's easier to coach an athlete who's making heights on first attempts. At the very end, when we were both missed 495 and I missed my 3rd attempt, I knew I was out, and I was watching her about to do her last attempt at 495. And I could just see this, like, and she said this afterward in the press conference, that her coach said, "You have to make this." And I could just hear it because I've been around them and I know it so well. And I could just see it in her eye. Like I knew she was going to make that bar before she even took off down the runway. And then I watched her, and it was a beautiful jump, and she made the bar. And I still walked away that day feeling just so good because I finally felt like myself. And that was the first time, I think, in my career, actually, that I jumped 490 and jumped every height with no misses. I would have to go back and make 100% sure on that. But I don't think, before that day, I don't think I'd ever jumped 90 with no misses. I mean, especially at a championship, obviously. So I couldn't be disappointed in that day. Sure. I did everything I set out to do that day. Was I a little sad that I didn't win? Sure, of course. I'm a competitor. I'm an athlete. But I tend to thrive off of those, I wouldn't say failures. It was like a near miss of the win. And like, I believe in my heart that someday that win will be mine. And when my day comes, I'm going to appreciate it that much more because I've had to take silver, and it's taught me a lot of life lessons.